This is the year 2163.
Guilty!
A dark time.
Store him! Store him!
The solar system blockaded.
Whoa! Now that's what I call a flying saucer.
Earth belongs to the Daleks.
The Daleks are out there in space, conquering other worlds.
Resistance is useless.
They never stop. And that's what your doctor does. He fights them whenever he meets them.
This was my fight, but not here, not now.
Obey the Daleks in all things.
Register this!
Disobey and you will die. Exterminate.
No, don't you dare!
Daleks are masters of Earth.
Quick, you two, before the whole building behind collapses!
Alert!
Moira, you're going too fast!
Seek, locate, destroy.
Moira!
As the saying goes, I got a bad feeling about this.
Place yourselves!
If I were to be captured, and if the Daleks were to examine my memories...
This is the Dalek Supreme!
Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the latest Big Finish main range story, and that is Masters of Earth. It's a 6th Doctor story. It's my first Big Finish 6th Doctor story. It came out just yesterday, and I had already pre-ordered it, and I downloaded it on the day it came out, and I've listened to it all, and now I'm going to review it just the day after, because I was really that excited for it, and it was really that good. I will say that. It is highly recommended, and it's my first main range story, and I've heard quite a few things about the main range. Apparently it's slipped in quality in recent years, but you know, I really did like this story. I'm a big fan of the Dalek invasion of Earth, and that probably helps that a bit, but you know, it's got a lot of references in it, not just to the Dalek invasion of Earth, but a lot of Dalek stories in general. But, you know, it doesn't really feel like it sags under that, and it doesn't feel just like a rip-off of the Dalek invasion of Earth or anything like that. It feels self-contained, just in a time period that's really interesting, and it's very much a post-apocalyptic story. Kinda, you know, you have those post-apocalyptic TV series where either aliens have invaded Earth or something. There's quite a lot of them about, and this one very much has that kind of feel to it. It's got that very desolate feel. It's a lot quicker paced because, you know, it's only a 4-part story. It's not like a full series, and you're not really trying to resolve a big plot. You're not really trying to get rid of the aliens because they're already gone. And I think it's interesting in this because the 6th Doctor it's not kind of like out of character for him to act more like the 7th in this, but it's more he's forced into that situation. And I think that's very interesting to listen to the 6th Doctor in more of a 7th Doctor way, because he kind of like can't say too much because, you know, he needs to keep history on course. So he's very manipulative in this, and you know, Peri doesn't sit with that well. She doesn't completely understand why they can't stop the Daleks until about halfway through. And I think that's a very interesting moral dilemma, especially since Peri only just came back. I haven't listened to the previous release, which is The Widow's Assassin, where Peri is brought back, because this is set after Trial of the Time Lord and all that stuff. But, you know, nevertheless, I think it's interesting to have that dynamic going on. The Daleks themselves in this, they're not in it too much, I'd say, it's because you can't really focus on the Daleks as the villains too much. This is very much character driven, and it's very good for that. Moira Brody is an especially interesting character. There are quite a few other ones. Alan Weir is very good in this. I can't really say too much about them because that would spoil it, and I really think you have to listen to this for yourselves. However, I will say this, that there are certain characters where a lot of twists and turns with their character that, you know, you kind of like get a bit confused. I think they push that too much towards the second half rather than the spreading it out a bit more. So then you kind of like, I guess it gets you to know them quite well, but just all those character twists are quite, they just feel too clumped together that you can't really comprehend one. While you're still trying to comprehend one, suddenly another comes along. So that's unfortunate, but other than that, I can't think of that many flaws for this, to be honest. It is great. It's very dark as well. It's very dark in a lot of ways, but not kind of like Dark Water and Death in Heaven, kind of like that depressing dark. It's very good dark, I think. You know, the kind of Inferno dark, really. And it's great for that. It kind of like goes to places where you couldn't do on TV, because on TV there are some gruesome bits in this that you don't actually see, obviously, because it's an audio. But that if they were on TV, they probably wouldn't get away with it. But here, because it's audio, you can get away with it much more. And there are also, as I said before, there are references and whatnot to other Dalek stories, but they don't feel forced. They don't really feel like proper references. They just feel like they're taking aspects from 60s Dalek stories and quite a few other Dalek stories as well, and that's not a bad thing. That's an interesting thing, and you know, it doesn't detract from the story at all. It just kind of like shows more realistic, because obviously if the Daleks use one strategy in one place, they'll use it in another. And one thing I will bring up in this is the Varga. Now the Varga are in this. That's a minor spoiler, but you know, it's not too big. I won't say anything about what they do, but they are terrifying in this. You know, this is the first time I was really scared of a Dalek story, I think. And there are even some occasions when the Daleks are quite scary, because the characters you fear for these characters who you've been introduced to, and you know, there are kind of like some tense moments with Daleks and whatnot, and the Varga themselves, they were terrifying in Mission to the Unknown. And here I think their potential is realised even more. Sorry if you count that as a spoiler, but I think it's just worth addressing. I won't spoil anything else at all. It's not a big spoiler, but nevertheless, I think that was very, very interesting. And as I say, you know, the Daleks themselves, they do have some scary moments when they're kind of like gliding along. I think they're very well realised on audio. And there are also kind of like some things that really post-apocalyptic things that you'd usually see in those series, kind of like tropes carried over to here, and done rather well, I feel. You know, it's very, very post-apocalyptic story, more than the Dalek invasion of Earth was. And also, it adds more to the Dalek invasion of Earth kind of like mythos thing. There's aspects to this which I can't say too much about because it's a spoiler, but there are things in the final part that are revealed that kind of like introduce new ideas to what the Daleks were doing during their invasion of Earth and whatnot. And it doesn't link too much to the Dalek invasion of Earth other than the setting it's in. It doesn't kind of like have any characters or anything from that. But nevertheless, it does kind of like have those links. They may make you see the Dalek invasion of Earth in a different way, I guess, but they won't kind of like spoil your enjoyment of either. And the final thing is, of course, it's set in Scotland. That's not really a spoiler, I don't think. And there are quite a lot of Scottish things brought over. There's even a reference to Jamie, which I found quite amusing from the 6th Doctor. But there's kind of like other jokes carried over, kind of like Scottish jokes, and it doesn't feel kind of like Terror to Zygons did, where it's borderline offensive in a way. You know, here it feels natural, very good. So I think that's all I have to say about this story, really. Absolutely recommended. One of my favourite big finishes so far. I think Destroy the Infinite's still at the top, but I think this would definitely take second place, if not third, because I'm not sure about the light at the end. But nevertheless, fantastic story. 9 out of 10. It didn't achieve 10 for those couple of flaws that I mentioned, but other than that, it is very good. And one more thing I will say is that the music is terrifying as well. I forgot to mention that, but the music is great in the soundscape. I've mentioned Big Finish and their soundscape a lot, but they do it so well. Honestly, it is incredible how well they do it. And the music in this, I think Nicholas Briggs done the music. He did it so well. It's very creepy. It feels like there's someone there behind you breathing down your neck. It really does have that kind of like air to it. It's very, very well done. So cannot recommend this enough. Thanks for watching this review, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.